And it is in this sense, just as you are able to spend 10 hours of discussion here, I dare the nationalist feeling in you, the Deshbhakt, that devotion in you should demand a discussion on Manipur at least for 3 hours. For heaven's sake, let's discuss Manipur, and then we will know what is Vande Mataram means to all of us.
Shri Akoijam.
Thank you, Madam Chairpersons, for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts on today's debate. But one of the first things that comes to me when I heard about this 10 hours dedicated discussion on Vande Mataram is what is the purpose of this discussion? Why we are discussing on this? There are real issues that we face, and our time as a legislature here, we have huge unemployment issue in this country, the quality of air in Delhi, the civil aviation crisis, not to mention about the tragedy of Manipur. We have been demanding that we should at least have round about 3 to 5 hour discussion on Manipur. Nobody cares. And you think that's a Deshbhakti, to deny a legitimate discussion on the present real issues such as the unemployment issues in this country, the pollution or the Manipur crisis, the fact that you still have 65,000 people homeless in Manipur due to this crisis, which was caused by the failure of the government to impose the constitutional order in that state. We don't discuss. And you want to sing Vande Mataram and discuss, and you think that will infuse patriotic feeling in them. That's the first thought that struck me. But second part is, after all, the discussion can have a meaning in itself, because this song had played a very crucial role in our struggle against the British, in our freedom struggle. So we need to reflect on and give homage to the writer of this song, as well as thousands and thousands of patriots who have sacrificed their lives singing this song as they fought against the British. Many of the things that I wanted to say has already been enunciated by my fellow members here, so I will not go into it, but I'll just pick up one of the reasons why we discuss such as a commemorative discussions entail, is to reflect on what is that song all about and what is its relevance for us today. First of all, I realize that the BJP government wants to discuss this because Bengal election is coming up, and there is another reason which is very crucial for us to understand why this discussion has been brought to the House. Is because the kind of imagination of India that they have, their nationalist project, which is rooted in religious, cultural model, particularly in the world, what we have seen of the German variety, folk which speaks a common language, which share a cultural trait, constituting the nation, is something that they wanted to pursue. There is an ideological project, and it was clearly seen in the speeches given by the members of the Treasury bench, including the Prime Ministers and our Defense Minister. But the fact must be recorded that when this song was written, as it has been noted here, was not Bharat Mata, it was Banga Mata. And the iconography drawn by Avandranath Tagore in 1905 in the light of the partition of Bengal, that picture of the Banga Mata tells you that, including in the lyrics, as somehow the members have already pointed out, 7 crores clearly refers to Banga Mata, not Bharat Mata. Of course, it has generated patriotic feelings. So the fact that it was imagined is not a national level imagination of India or Bharat when this song was the rallying point for the freedom struggle in Bengal. I must also cite that this Vande Mataram has a similar kind of imagination in my home state. In the 1930s, there is this song we sung as follows. It says, Bharat ki mamom aikoigi iman nukshibi Vande Manipur Mataram. The mother that we were saying was Manipur in 1930s. But Manipur was not the only one. If you remember, in Karnataka, you have a similar song in the 30s. You have Jaya Bharata Jananiya Tanujate, Jaya Hai Karnataka Mate, the mother Karnataka, daughter of Bharat. Kuyembu's famous line. What we get to know is that in history, just as the Bengalis imagine Vande Mataram, Manipur also had imagination of Manipur Mata, just as Karnataka Mata is there. How it acquires a national character is part of the trajectory, and we must recollect this trajectory as we commemorate 150th year of this song. The idea of nation in this country, it must be reminded, was an alien concept. It is insisted none other than what we call the national poet, Rabindranath Tagore. He called it, nation has turned humanity into a geographical demon. He was very skeptical of the idea of nation. Everybody knows this, and yet we call him as a national poet. So is Mahatma Gandhi, who was very skeptical of the institution called the state, modern state. He thinks that this is an impersonal machine rooted in violence. That's why he was suggesting village republics. But the irony is that the way we have begun to imagine this nation, within this quote nation, there are two competing ideologies, one represented by the Indian National Congress, the other, which some authors call it, communal ideological moorings. Let me cite this one which BJP loves to do it. The religious cultural imagination was an organic conception of nation. That is clearly seen in today's speech as well. They invoke the idea of blood and soil. If you remember, our Prime Minister has said, the color of the passport se zyada importance dena hai ya color of the blood. This is a familiar slogan in 1930s Italy fascists. They used to say, Blut on Borden, blood and the soil. The cultural nationalist project to see this country as an organic entity by flattening the diversity. That's one kind of imagination of nationhood, and that is why this song becomes important to the ruling party. In contrast to this imagination of the Bharat Mata, you have another competing image presented by people like Jawaharlal Nehru. In his book, Discovery of India, he said, who is this Bharat Mata? And he insists Bharat Mata is nothing but you and me. There's millions of people in this country. And when you say victory to Mother India, you mean victory to these people. It is you and me and different speakers, whether it was Karnataka Mata or Manipur Mata or Vande Mataram, everybody comes together. And this is coming together is what has created the country that we are familiar with and we represent in this house. That history must be recollected as we discuss this Vande Mataram. You must remember this coming together of various elements, speakers of different languages and diverse faiths, is what made this country India, the country that we are aware and the country which has been codified in our constitutions. The preceding constitutions, Section 5 of the Government of India Act 1935, it calls this country as the Federation of India. And people like Manipuris who have joined under that 1935 Act, under the same Act, Section 8, it is called the Federated State. This Federation of India turned into Union of India as we know today under this Constitution. This coming together of India, that is what Bharat Mata would mean. Different individuals, different cultures. Give me 2 minutes, I'll wind it up. And it is this what our Constitution says. We should be providing justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. That's what we promised to ourselves on 26 November 1949, and we implemented on 26 January 1950. The question that we must be asking today, as we mark this Vande Mataram's 150th year, is that have we been able to deliver that justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity? Unfortunately, to end, just as we keep on singing about Vande Mataram, you exclude people. Take, for example, Northeast. For 75 years, it is not a myth. Just as the Europeans have said, India has past, not history. And Bengali nationalist says, we must have a history. That's the nationalist imagination. Today, the Northeast is still not included in the so-called Indian history. That exclusion. Dalits have been excluded. You are suspicious of a minority like Muslims. You have keep on excluding people. You are not doing justice to Bharat Mata, which is the millions of citizens in this country. So the true meaning of celebrating Vande Mataram is to uphold what we have promised to ourselves in our Constitution. And it is in this sense, just as you are able to spend 10 hours of discussion here, I dare the nationalist feeling in you, the Deshbhakt, that devotion in you should demand a discussion on Manipur at least for 3 hours. For heaven's sake, let's discuss Manipur, and then we will know what is Vande Mataram means to all of us. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.